Despite humanity's advancements, accomplishments, and incredible adaptability in the cosmos, the Galactic Council's decision was unyielding. They saw Earth's people as a wildcard, something that didn't fit into the Council's measured, predictable world order. To them, humans were too volatile, too bold, too unpredictable. And unpredictability was a threat. The Council's governing members, comprised of hundreds of races, each with its own historical place in the galaxy's orderly ranks, had reached a consensus that humans, though capable, could not be trusted with a seat among them. It wasn't that they didn't see Earth's potential. It was precisely because they did. Humanity's ability to innovate, to adapt, to face down seemingly insurmountable odds and emerge victorious was, to the Council's aged minds, deeply unsettling. They were pioneers of rapid advancement, a civilization that had gone from its first interstellar step to becoming a near superpower in galactic terms within a few generations. But to the Council, this was precisely the problem. No other species had progressed so quickly, with such intense drive. Such growth was unnatural, and in the Council's view, dangerous. This decision hit humanity hard. It wasn't just an insult, it was a blatant dismissal of everything they had worked for. Diplomatic channels had been flooded with messages from Earth, outlining their contributions, their dedication to peaceful exploration, and their capability as allies. The Council's reply was short and cold, delivered through an emotionless representative who droned on about preserving galactic peace and maintaining stability. They hid their discomfort behind diplomatic terms, but humanity knew the truth. They had been cast aside, deemed unworthy of a voice in decisions that would shape the galaxy's future. On Earth, the Council's refusal resonated deeply. Leaders gathered, their expressions tight with frustration. They understood what had just happened. Humanity's rise in power and influence had unsettled the Council, and they were now labeled as a problem to be managed. But instead of making an emotional response, instead of shouting back and causing a scene, humanity's leaders moved with a calculated, quiet resolve. They wouldn't beg. They wouldn't plead. They would act. Earth's officials worked quietly, reaching out to the most advanced sectors of their science and defense programs. They wanted something unconventional, something that didn't play by the Council's usual rules of war and politics. If they weren't welcome at the Council table, they would make sure no one forgot their presence. And so, the Silent Network project began, a web of untraceable, silent weapons strategically positioned throughout the galaxy. These were not weapons in the traditional sense. They were self-replicating defense drones, equipped with an advanced artificial intelligence capable of identifying and neutralizing threats without warning. The drones were sleek, nearly invisible to all but the most sophisticated scanners, and programmed to replicate when needed, slipping through galactic space unnoticed. They were placed carefully, each one positioned with precision, close enough to key Council territories to make their presence felt but hidden just enough to avoid detection. In time, a network was woven together across star systems, a web that could be activated at any moment, and each node in this network was a silent reminder of humanity's potential. All it took was a single command, a single code to set them into action. And if that moment came, the drones would strike with unparalleled precision, taking out hostile fleets before they even knew what had happened. To the Council, humanity issued a single, cryptic warning. Run! There was no further explanation, no show of anger or threat. Just that single word, spoken calmly by humanity's ambassador before he departed the Council chambers, leaving the gathered representatives in a state of mild confusion and, for some, quiet disdain. The ambassador's warning wasn't taken seriously. A few members speculated it was a last-minute attempt to salvage pride, a gesture meant to save face after the Council's rejection. But most dismissed it as an empty threat. Days passed, and nothing happened. The Council went back to its usual business, content to ignore humanity's dramatic exit. Meanwhile, the drones continued to spread, one by one, taking their places among the stars. The silent network was becoming stronger, each node connected in a pattern invisible to any outside observer. To Earth's leaders, the network was a message that didn't need words, a reminder that, even without a Council seat, humanity could make its presence felt in the galaxy. With the Council's decision behind them, humanity's leaders moved quickly, silently, and with a clear purpose. The Silent Network project was no longer just an idea. It became a coordinated effort, something far larger than any single mission. Earth's finest engineers, strategists, and scientists poured their minds into creating this defensive grid, a system that would protect humanity's interests while sending an unmistakable signal across the galaxy. These drones were engineered for stealth, agility, and precision. They were given the intelligence to operate independently, adapting in real time to evade detection by even the most advanced sensors. The deployment strategy was meticulously calculated. The goal was to create a web of hidden power, each drone positioned in a way that ensured full coverage across the galaxy's most critical regions. Manufacturing facilities on remote stations worked non-stop, producing these drones at a scale that ensured rapid deployment. They were launched in waves, with each unit slipping quietly into space, using calculated jumps and cloaking mechanisms to avoid detection. Each one moved into position without raising an ounce of suspicion from the Council, or any other power. The drones spread across Council space and beyond, linking up to create an invisible web, each one waiting silently, primed to respond if humanity ever needed them. For Earth's leaders, patience was everything. The project was not about immediate results but about building something that would last, a hidden force capable of protecting Earth's interests for generations. They knew that a single misstep could alert the Council, ruining any chance of this network's success. But humanity had always thrived under pressure, and this mission was no different. Every calculation, every decision, every movement was made with precision. They understood the importance of silence. The Council might not see them as worthy of a seat, but this network would prove otherwise, sending a message that words alone could never communicate. Humanity's focus was relentless. Crews worked tirelessly, knowing that every drone launch brought them closer to an unbreakable safeguard. Engineers and scientists collaborated to push the limits of what their technology could achieve, fine-tuning every element of these drones. They tested them in the harshest conditions, ensuring they could withstand the extremes of space and adapt to any environment. Once deployed, the drones could lie dormant indefinitely, waiting until they were needed, until humanity's survival depended on their activation. This was more than just a technological project. It was a testament to Earth's spirit, their unwillingness to be silenced or dismissed. In space, the network continued to grow, with each drone moving into position as though guided by some invisible hand. To any outside observer, these were merely random specks of metal, insignificant among the stars. But to those who knew, this was an arsenal beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen, a coordinated defense so advanced that it bordered on the unimaginable. It was a fortress with no walls, a force that could strike anywhere at any moment, and no one would see it coming until it was too late. Though some members of the Council began to grow suspicious of the occasional blip on their scanners, they wrote it off as nothing more than background noise. Space was vast, full of anomalies and random signals. A few stray readings here and there were easy to overlook, especially in a galaxy where the Council believed it held supreme control. The presence of these drones remained hidden, their purpose concealed behind the cold expanse of space. As the Silent Network neared completion, the galaxy's most powerful governing body had no idea that humanity was prepared to match them. These drones could be activated at any time, and if triggered they would respond with unmatched speed and accuracy, targeting anything that threatened humanity's interests. Earth didn't need to be loud to be heard. The Silent Network was a promise that humanity would stand its ground, that they were prepared to protect themselves without relying on the Council's approval. The project's architects knew they had created something transformative. Earth's leaders waited, watchful and patient, confident that the Council's rejection would not be the end of humanity's story in the galaxy. They would remain ready, their silent defense network extending like an invisible hand across the stars, poised to defend or strike should the time come. And while the galaxy went on as if nothing had changed, Earth's message lingered in the cold darkness. Run! Not long after the Silent Network was fully operational, an unexpected threat emerged, a fleet of enormous warships from beyond known Council territory, hailing from a powerful, hostile empire long thought to be a distant myth. This alien fleet moved swiftly, piercing through border systems with ruthless efficiency, and sent out a declaration that was cold and absolute. They intended to conquer the Council's core worlds. The Council, unprepared and still clinging to the illusion of absolute safety, scrambled to defend itself. Panic spread as member races attempted to mobilize forces, but the Council quickly realized their fragmented fleets were no match for the invaders. In desperation, Council leaders considered reaching out to every potential ally. They knew humanity had advanced rapidly, but in their arrogance, they hadn't imagined humans would be able to fend off this type of full-scale invasion. As the alien fleet pressed forward, moving deeper into Council space, the Council's War Command scrambled to strategize, relying on outdated defenses that were barely holding. Some suggested appealing to Earth for aid, but most dismissed the idea, reluctant to admit their mistake in excluding humanity. So, they continued their battle with what little strength they had left. Humanity, however, had been monitoring the entire situation. Earth's observation stations picked up the alien fleet's movement long before the Council sounded the alarm. They analyzed the fleet's capabilities, routes, and the Council's hapless response. Then, humanity waited. They knew exactly what they were capable of, and when the alien fleet entered the reach of their silent network, humanity made its move. Earth's leader sent the activation code across the silent network. In an instant, the galaxy's darkest corners lit up as each drone powered on, setting the human response into action. The alien fleet was advancing when, without warning, ships at the front of their formation began to vanish from scanners. The intruders barely had time to react before the drones attacked in coordinated waves. Each strike was precise, targeting vulnerable points on the massive warships. The drones, acting as one flawless unit, sliced through the fleet with astonishing speed. Ships erupted in explosions, sections of the fleet fragmented, and their rigid formation crumbled. The enemy fleet's commanders, realizing they were under siege by an invisible enemy, tried to pull back, but it was too late. One by one, the warships were picked apart, caught in a web of relentless, invisible strikes. As the Council's observers watched, their screens displayed the utter decimation of the invading fleet. Shock rippled through the Council chamber as they saw the mysterious defense force, one that operated with precision the likes of which they'd never seen. The Council officials were silent, horrified at the scope and efficiency of humanity's hidden power. In mere minutes, a fleet that should have overwhelmed the Council's best defenses was reduced to debris scattered across the stars. And still, the drones pressed forward, wiping out any remaining alien ships that dared to linger near Council space. It was as though the silent network was everywhere, at every critical point, dismantling the invasion with surgical precision. The alien empire, once a feared power, was left crippled, its ambitions shattered in the span of an afternoon. And as the last of the drones returned to their dormant state, the reality of humanity's power became impossible to ignore. The Council members, who once scoffed at humanity's potential, were left in stunned silence. The scale of human capability, the flawless execution of their defense, it was something they had never anticipated. A defensive network that could respond with such deadly accuracy was beyond anything they had believed humanity was capable of achieving. Some Council leaders realized what this display meant for the future. If humanity could mobilize such power in mere moments, if they could defend not only themselves but the entire galaxy without breaking a sweat, then perhaps they weren't the threat the Council had feared. Perhaps, they were precisely the allies the galaxy needed. In that instant, the Council knew that their prior judgment of humanity had been profoundly mistaken. This wasn't a species that would disrupt the order of the galaxy. This was a species that could protect it. And in the back of their minds, every Council member remembered that one chilling word humanity had left them with before the silence. Run. It hadn't been a threat. It had been a warning that humanity was fully prepared to act, regardless of Council approval. In humanity's silence, they had spoken louder than any words ever could. The Council, for the first time, saw the reality of what they had turned away. And now, faced with the knowledge of humanity's hidden strength, they were forced to confront a simple truth: the galaxy had changed forever. In the aftermath of the battle, the Galactic Council was left grappling with the full weight of humanity's capabilities. The silent network had proven itself a force unlike anything they'd ever witnessed, dismantling a full-scale invasion with calm efficiency. The Council, once so dismissive, now faced undeniable evidence of human power. The chamber was filled with a heavy silence, each member reflecting on the implications. Humanity, the very species they had excluded, had just saved them. But more than that, they demonstrated a level of control, restraint, and lethal precision that no Council race could rival. The Council members knew they couldn't ignore Earth's strength any longer. The Council debated their next steps, some urging immediate diplomatic action. There were, however, those who remained wary, unsure if they could ever fully trust a species capable of such unrestrained force. But as they weighed their options, the memory of the battle, and the destruction of the invading fleet, reminded them that they had no choice but to reconsider their stance. If humanity could defeat an empire with such ease, then they deserved a voice in the galaxy's future. Slowly, the Council reached an agreement. They would extend an offer to humanity, not as an afterthought, but as an equal. When Earth's representatives returned to the Council chambers, they found a room of humbled leaders. The Council, previously so secure in its authority, had now been brought to a point of silent respect. The Council speaker, chosen to convey their decision, delivered a formal invitation to humanity. But Earth's representatives didn't rush to accept. They understood that the offer was more than just a seat, it was a test of their own principles and purpose. Humanity was no longer seeking mere approval. They wanted something greater, something that aligned with the future they envisioned for the galaxy. Calmly, humanity's lead diplomat presented their terms. If they were to join the Council, they would do so on their own terms, advocating for protections for all species, even those deemed too volatile by outdated standards. They demanded that emerging civilizations be given the support they needed to thrive, that no species be rejected based on the biases of a ruling body clinging to the past. Humanity was clear: they would not join a council that could repeat the same mistakes with another species in the future. They demanded the establishment of new frameworks, a restructuring of policies, and a commitment to defend those who couldn't defend themselves. The council members listened, some nodding in agreement, others hesitating, but all understanding that humanity's terms weren't negotiable. This was no longer the plea of a young species asking for approval. It was the vision of a species capable of reshaping galactic order, of protecting the balance that the Council had once prided itself on maintaining. And in that moment, they knew humanity's presence would only strengthen the galaxy's future. After intense deliberations, the Council formally accepted humanity's terms. The agreement symbolized more than just a membership, it was a shift in the Council's foundation. Humanity would hold a place at the Council's core, with full authority to influence decisions and set standards for galactic defense. There wouldn't just be a voice in the background, they'd be a force actively shaping policy, a presence that other species could rely on, even if they feared them. The Council had once rejected humanity out of fear, but now, in an ironic twist, it was humanity's power that would become their protection. Word spread across the galaxy, and the public response was one of both awe and relief. In time, other species began to see Earth's presence on the Council as a source of hope. Humanity had proven its strength and restraint, demonstrating that they weren't conquerors but protectors. Their silent network, once seen as a mere defense, became a symbol of security, a silent guardian that ensured the galaxy's safety without needing fanfare or recognition. The Council, now restructured with humanity's influence, entered a new era, one where inclusion, growth, and respect became core values. As humanity took its seat, they did so with quiet confidence, aware that they had not just joined the Council but transformed it. The galaxy would never be the same, and Earth had claimed its place not through violence or conquest, but through resilience, strategy, and an unwavering sense of purpose. They had come not to overthrow but to uplift, ensuring that the galaxy's future was one where all could thrive. And as the Council looked to the stars, they knew they had made the right choice, recognizing humanity not as a threat but as a safeguard for the ages to come.